Down. So I am just going to explain quickly what somatic exercise is. So somatics it comes from a Greek word, and it's basically the idea that we're approaching our body and our embodiment from a conscious awareness place, as opposed to an imposition of, I'm going to force myself into doing this thing. So it's not coming to the body from like a ballet perspective where it's very objectified and like this should be like this and this should be like that. And even yoga can be very objectified, or even Pilates can be very much like from the outside to the inside. The somatic idea is coming from the inside, from your experience of what it's like to be in your body. And that's the primary, most important thing. So when I teach like a somatic inquiry practice, that would be with no telling you how exactly you need to do this. But with somatic exercise, it's just that you're really going to honor your own body, listening in. And a lot of the cueing that I'll offer is going to be slightly different than what you would get probably in like a regular fitness or exercise class. It's coming with the idea that we're all coming from really different experiences and different bodies, and that we want to, we're formed differently by our experiences of our lives. And so we want to work with that and also bring the whole picture to the equation or to the table. So it's not just, I'm just here to get fit. It's also what's going on, how on the whole, in the whole picture altogether. So it's participatory with ourselves, with our bodies, with our minds, everything all as one big spiraling event. So I did call it spirals and undulations. We are going to do a lot of arm stuff. And we'll use this as more of a recuperative practice today than maybe a pushing into it practice, because I know that one of my people in my Zoom room needs that. So we're going to start standing up and we're going to do a little bit of breath work. And let's just inhale, stretch out and up, reach through your fingertips, feel out to the edge of your body. So like feeling to that distal edge. And just like a cat does that scrabbling with their paws, scrabble your way from the top out and then coming down. So you're feeling this or imagining there's a connection, which there is, from your heart out to your fingertips, heart, lungs to your fingertips, and then inhale, work your way back up. And this time it's going to be flamenco dancer arms, rippling and waving from the center out to the periphery as you go out and down. And again, inhale, lift and open. And this time, shake, 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 shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. So let's do those three ways of coming down again. And you may have more. It's not just you have to extend your exhale that long. It can be whatever works. So inhale up and then working your way down like a cat, scrabbling and letting yourself feel the connection from center to the edge as you're reaching out, like a cat doing that paw thing that they do. And as you can see, if I'm doing my cat version of the paw thing, my shoulders are moving. I'm not just here, right? It's from the center out to the edge. Then the second one, inhale, lift. And this is the flamenco dancer arms. When I was in college, I had well, actually, I was in high school at that time. I was studying a lot of dance classes at the local college, and my teacher was a flamenco dancer from Spain. And oh my God, her arms were so expressive. So we want to think of that like wings of the heart radiating out with all this capacity for movement. And then the last one, inhale, lift and open. And exhale, shake, 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 let it go. Blah, 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 blah. Loose and easy. And then we're gonna, so that was very vertical plane, up and down. And vertical plane is very much about, I am here, this is me. Here I am, I'm breathing, I'm opening up. We're gonna move into the horizontal plane, table plane, and move into letting the blood from our heart radiate out towards our fingers. So the centrifugal force is going to send the blood out if we kind of fling our arms. So it's not that we have to do the work, we're letting it happen just by this twist. And then you want to try and look all the way around behind you every time. So you're looking back there, seeing whatever's behind you. And we're actually going to slow that down, start going a little bit slower. So there's less force radiating out, and it's more just this spiral in the central channel of your body, spiraling through. And from that central channel, really pan the horizon. And your horizon, if you're in a small apartment, might be kind of tight and near. If you have windows and can look out and see like far away, try to get that far vision as well. So, and then you can start to let that get smaller and smaller. When we look around like this, when our eyes pan the horizon and our head is turning in this way, we're affecting our brainstem and our cerebellum and learning that it's safe where we are. So we can let our nervous system down regulate a little bit, right? So just looking around, taking in your environment, your nervous system is going to go, oh, I'm not going to get hit by a car, or a saber-toothed tiger is not going to attack me. I don't know why people always use the saber-toothed tiger as the idea, but let's just say back in the day, that's what our nervous system was doing, making sure everything was okay, right? So now all the bells and whistles on our phones, everything that gives you a little one of these little is giving you a little tension pattern, right? And so to let that go, you can shake it out, or you can really look around and see. And like we would have, if we look at children when they're really scared and they're young, they're going to start shaking. But this is something that as adults, we've learned to inhibit. So all that shaking can really release stuff. Animals, same thing. If they've had like an injury that they're going to survive, their body will go into this shaking pattern, which helps reset the nervous system. So since we don't do it, we inhibit that. Sometimes just letting that happen is a good way of, again, releasing that kind of tension. All right, so I called this spirals and undulations and connection. So let's just do some undulations from the floor up. I'm going to show you sideways. So it's bending your knee, bending your knees, letting it ripple through your head, moving through your body from the bottom to the top, undulating, waking up the spine. And as you're in your undulation pattern, especially if you've done a lot of Pilates or a lot of training where you're like, I'm going to use every muscle, and let that just go. Let it just be fluid as possible. So it's like just a ripple of water, like a wave moving up through your body, as easy and relaxed as possible. So we're like, sometimes I like to use the analogy that we're driving the car with the brakes on, right? So much extra tension, but I really have to control it. Let go of all of that. Let it be as easy as possible. And then we're going to do it from the top down. So head down. Your head can go forward. Let it ripple through down to your feet. And then we're going to do one more version of this. And you can feel free to grab onto the wall. If you don't need the wall, more excellent. And this is going to be with your arm leading the way. Don't worry so much about making this perfect undulation through your body, but you're just going to think of hand through the body out through your foot. And you're getting this great chance to balance. If you are doing it standing without holding onto something, but you can definitely hold on if that's easier. Switch it to the other side, same thing, hand down to your foot. Woo! You'll find probably one side is a better standing side. Yeah, and let it go, let it go, let it go. So that's just something to play with. Like you're going to get balance, you're going to get this rippling, a lot of movement. And I feel like as I have noticed for myself, the only time I'm really working balance is when I'm actually taking ballet. The rest of the time, maybe a little bit. So we want to add those balances in. We're going to do one more thing up here, which is going to be an arch and curl with your butt sticking out. So it's a cat-cow, but from here, and you're going to inhale, open, exhale, closed. Inhale, chest reaching out, tail reaching out. You're actively reaching through your butt. And then follow and curl and scoop up and in. Energy radiating away from center. Energy drawing into center as you dome up. Inhale, open. Energy radiates outward. Energy radiates inward. Open it up and scoop. Opening the front of your torso, and then you're opening the back body as you curl. Two more, arch, head away from the tail, and curl. And last one, arch and curl. And then come up, and let's do internal rotation and external rotation in the arm. So here's that spiral again. if we think of like our blood system, our circulatory system, our heart as like the fingertips are the furthest away. The feet are the furthest away from the heart. They're also the furthest away from our nervous system. So we really want to include hands and feet in this relationship. So as I'm doing my spirals, I'm feeling all the way into my fingertips. Like I can even initiate from my hands spiraling or my pinky going out. So just thinking, letting that tissue through my whole arm get this spiral, but feeling that connection to the edge of my fingertips. So we're going to internally rotate arms and legs, and then externally rotate, stick out your chest. Exhale, hollow in. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, hollow. Inhale, open. Exhale, internal rotation, external rotation, spiraling in, pinky through the arm, all the way into the scapula, right? So let's just stay in that internal spiral for a second. And kind of, I'm going to show you from here. Let the scapula move. So my arms are doing it. I'm getting this movement through my shoulders and rotator cuff. And then shake that out. And let's take it down to the floor. I just need to shut one of the doors. As soon as I start teaching, I get louder and louder. And then Anthony's like, you don't need to yell when you're teaching. I'm like, but I do. I really do need to yell when I'm teaching. All right, let's come into a cross-legged position. And we'll work with that circle again. So thinking of that, not that you need to muscle your way through this. You're going to make it as easy and fluid as possible, circling your rib cage over your pelvis. And as we're there, we're also going to think of what is the head and cranium doing? Like, do I need to do anything actively with that? Circling around, mobilizing your heart, your lungs, and your organs. Just circling. And then change direction, go the other way. So pelvis is the big bony structures of your pelvis, your ribs, and your cranium are interrelating in different ways as you circle around. And then we're going to open the arms out to the side, stretch it over to one side, and lift and grow tall through center, and then over to the other. And open it up, and sideways, and come up, and sideways, and come up. So sideways, and then forward. You're going to take both arms to the front and hang out down there. A little bit of a wiggle through your spine, soften it up, and then roll up and open your arms over to the other side, taking it forward and down, head and tail free inside your body. So if you just kind of turn your head in from side to side, we're getting this spiral. We're going to think of the discs just kind of expanding like cushy marshmallows. And then coming up. So we can think of the discs between each vertebrae. So there's like a vertebra, and inside there is the disc. Think of them as being really squishy and adaptable. So they're not like, oh, I get into this one position and I don't change. When we move our body, we give our discs the capacity to be more resilient and bouncy. And just an interesting fact, cats have like a really springy spine. They can really get long or they can shorten in. And that allows them to really leap and go fast, right? If you see like a cheetah running, you can see their spine does this, it balls up and then it goes. So we have a little bit of that action too. So feeling into that for yourself, that capacity to really elongate or to kind of condense into itself. Sometimes we think like, sometimes we get kind of like, we should only lengthen and never condense, but we really want this sort of spring-like capacity in the whole thing. All right, change legs, so non-dominant leg is in front, and we're gonna slightly change the exercise. You're gonna take it over to the side, and here you're gonna just circle your wrist at the top of that. So circling your wrist, feeling into your fingertips, change direction the other way. And then you're gonna exhale down towards your knee, and inhale, spiral and open your heart and lungs. Exhale, down, inhale, open. exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, using your lungs, exhale, and inhale. And then take it deeper to your side and open it up. Blossom through the center over to the other side, starting with just the circles in the hand. Imagining that like you're stroking something really lovely, like a very plush, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking like a polar bear, but I'm sure that their fur is kind of wiry. Change direction, and who knows, a polar bear might be a dangerous creature. Or maybe some silk curtains. I don't know, but letting your hands really move through. Then you're going to exhale forward and inhale open. Thinking of the arms and the fingertips as like these extensions of your lungs. Exhale, inhale, open. Exhale, inhale, open. And from a fascial perspective, thinking from the fascia, they are extensions from your lungs. Exhale, inhale, exhale, spiraling down, inhale, spiraling up, exhale, and inhale. And then take it a little deeper down to the side and inhale, come all the way up. And let's just go down the front for a second. Once you get down there, shift from side to side. So you're undulating from your tail to your head, a little bit of movement from side to side. Like one of those snakes, they're like made of wood and you can hold the tail and it'll wave out there. They have like all the little individuated sort of vertebral structure. Let that mobilize. And then we're going to come down onto the floor. There's a whole bunch of arm exercises that I want to do standing. So hopefully I'll remember to do that. If I don't, please remind me. Okay, let's come into the floor. This is going to be really releasing. So imagining that you are a body of water, which you are a body of water, but you have a lot of other things in there, more dense, fibrous parts. But most of those even fibrous parts are filled with fluid, filled with water. We're just going to slowly let the knees drop to one side, and then relax into that for a second. Let the front of your abdominals totally release. And then you're going to just spread your lower back onto the floor, letting the legs fall to the other side. Give yourself a minute to settle into the ground, relaxing, letting the front of your body release, and then bringing it back. So like you're taking your lower back and kind of spreading it like butter across the mat. Drop your legs down, knee drop, knee drop. Take a second to completely relax before it's almost like you want to think of your pelvis shifting. So your knees kind of stay behind, your pelvis shifts. And then once it comes across enough, the knees follow. So one leg drops, the other legs drop, other legs drop, other leg drops, I can speak. And then pelvis shifts, but you're not like super engaging every muscle. You're making it as easy as possible and just shifting in a fluid manner. Drop, drop, and then shifting it back so that you're creating a little bit of shear on your glute and on your rotators under you, so that the pull is happening. You could almost think of the bones, like the tailbone reaches back and that brings you back up. Couple more times, dropping. One of my teachers used to say, this is like a knee drop from Bartenia Fundamentals. One of my teachers used to say, as if you're going to squish a cockroach under your coccyx. Always a beautiful image. Like, maybe that was my idea. I don't know. But you're shifting from your pelvis, from your bones. And then let's come in and let's just do some up and down here. We'll do a little up and down, then some variations on it. So pelvic lifting. I'm going to suggest, I'm going to do it for myself. You do not need to do this, but I'm going to use weights for this. And I'm going to start with my hands facing each other. You could do this with no weights. And if you've been overworking, like some people in my room, I'm not mentioning any names, then don't use the weights. Just do it without. But if you feel like, oh, I could do this with weights, go for it. So my hands are facing my hips. My palms are facing my hips. I'm just going to go up and down here. Up and down. Arms coming along for the ride. Inhale up. Exhale down. I would say that unless you do a lot of weights, I would go for a really low weight if you're using weights. like 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound, a can of beans, something like that. And then I'm going to turn it so my palms are facing up, and the same thing, moving up and down, up and down, up and down, and one more. I'm doing these in sets of 4, up and down. And then I'm going to do it so my palms are facing down. So I'm changing the relationship of my arm, all the tissue in my arm, up into my rotator cuff, up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to do the weirdest one, and we aren't going to do that many of them, but where you internally rotate your arms entirely and your arms face out. We'll just do 2, up and down and up and down. And then get rid of your weights if you have them. And we'll change the exercise. So if this hurts at all in your shoulder, I'm just going to move my mat a little closer to, a little further away from the cat tower. Okay, so if this, you'll see what the exercise is. And actually, let's just do this in basic small parts. So the first version, we're going to press our pelvis up. You're going to draw your elbow underneath you just on one side, and you're going to shift onto that shoulder, and then come back and arm out and pelvis down. Pelvis up. The other elbow comes under in towards your waist. You shift slightly onto your side, bringing it into an arch. You come all the way back, and the arm comes out, and you come down to the floor. I did this at the gym. I was teaching at the Y, and I had the, and I didn't break it down piece by piece. And I kind of like, I was like, look, I stood up and looked at what everybody was doing. I was like, oh my God, I need to break this down more. So really simple, a pelvic lift, elbow comes underneath you, you shift, and you can push with that bottom arm. So you're not totally smushing yourself, and come out and come down. Press it up, elbow under, open, bring it back and come down. Press it up, elbow under, open. Now you're going to take that side, come down, and the legs and arm reach back behind you. Come back up, press it up, and come down. So starts with the pelvis lifting, then the elbow comes under, we shift onto our side, that knee on that same side comes under, and we reach back with the arm and leg, bringing it back in. Pelvis comes up, arm comes out, we come down. Just one more time each side. Up, slide it under, knee to the floor, shift onto your side, bring it back, open it up, and come down. And the last one, up, elbow under, knee onto the floor, shift, bring it back, arm out and down. And then from there, let's do a happy baby pose. So grabbing on to your feet, breathing into it, and letting your happy baby be a happy baby. Oh, I had a friend here. My next door neighbor growing up was here over Christmas for like, or was it Christmas? Yeah, on Christmas Day. She came in for like a night, 2 nights, and she has really long red hair. And now I'm finding it on my body. It's like, if it's really short, it's mine. If it's long, it is definitely not mine. All right, let yourself move around in your baby, stretching whatever you need to stretch, roll around, massage out your back. Give your baby some baby-like freedom, as if your baby was a baby and it doesn't know what is possible. So you're playing with movement, letting your body have some free flow, right? So free flow in our body is where we're not muscling it all in, but there's like a freedom and aliveness, very young, very vital, immature, like it doesn't have to be immature, but like little kids charging around. There's not easily stoppable. It's got this freedom and this mobility. That is free flow. Bound flow, on the other hand, is more mature and more specific, like it's more contained. You could think of a wave being like free flow and bound flow being like water moving through a tube. There's still flow, but it's not the same, right? It's not the same as like whoosh, a wave. All right, just to throw that idea in, because that's how we're holding ourselves all day long, either with more free flow or more bound flow. All right, let's do one more pelvis thing. You're going to lift your pelvis up, feet are fairly wide, circles with your hips, mobilizing your spine, mobilizing your ribs. You may even be mobilizing your head and neck a little bit. So let it just respond in whatever way it wants to move. You're not stopping it from moving or moving it in a specific way other than the pelvis, change direction, but you're letting your head and neck do whatever feels good. So for me, it feels good to kind of look a little bit away, but it might be different for you. So listen into your body, allowing this to massage out your shoulders, right? Massage out your upper traps. And then come in and come down. And we're going to do a really free flow exercise, and we're going to add a breath to it. So the breath is a soft hissing sound, like steam gently being released, not a hard one. Like if I go soft, it's more free flow. If I go and everything has to engage, it's more bound flow. So we're going with a really free flow hiss. It will extend our exhale, and by extending the exhale, our bodies will drop down into a more parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest, soothe, and settle. It's the processing side of our body, not the holding and whatever. It's not fight, flight, freeze. It's rest, digest, soothe, and settle. So we're inviting that in with this breath, but we're also going to free up our whole head-tail connection. So imagining from the tip of your head down through your tailbone that you're just inviting freedom in your movement patterning. So it's rippling and waving. We're inviting in undulations. We're inviting in any kind of movement. And we're going to add the hissing sound. So think of waves, really free flow moving around inside your body. They're not just going up and down. There's side, there's diagonals, all sorts of stuff. So for maybe a minute or two. And probably my earbuds will cut out the hiss. So you can maybe not hear it, maybe hear it. Take resting breaths whenever you need them. Off we go. And what you're kind of doing is imagining, it's a weird image, but imagine that your body is like just an octopus arm and it's got this free flow movement and you're just inviting that in. So as I was saying before, we've learned to really inhibit movement. Now you're inviting movement to come up. So it might be kind of like a nudge and a push, so something that actually happens, or it might just start happening because you're letting go enough that you're allowing this fluid movement to come in. Just letting your torso have freedom, letting your weight drop into the floor, but also finding some buoyancy in your body, right? So the gravity, we understand gravity because that draws us to the planet, right? We understand it really well through the fluids in our body, through our vestibular system, but there's also buoyancy. In any body of water, there's buoyancy as well. So finding the buoyancy as well as the gravity in your body. And I want to also say, allowing yourself to let go of your idea of what your body should be or should look like or should feel like. So you're not imposing a plan or some perfectionism on yourself. You're letting go of that and just allowing this movement to happen or nudging it so that movement is happening. But it should feel good. Although for people who are really, I need to know what to do, I need to know the plan, and that there has to be a right and a wrong way, this will be a challenge. So if you are feeling challenged in this department, bravo, you're in a learning process, right? All right, so let's let that go. And we're just gonna roll from side to side. So you're gonna take it onto one side, and then you're gonna roll across to the other side. And I'm opening and closing. So this is a body half where half my body opens until I roll onto my back, and then the other half closes. So it's called, when we do this kind of body half, this is a homolateral, one side versus the other, right versus left, a homolateral pattern, and I'm just rolling across. Imagine that this is massaging out your back, letting everything be relaxed. So relax your feet, relax your hands, relax your head and neck, and just massage through as you're rolling across. So you're massaging through between your body weight and the floor. And then you can start to unfold as you open up and then fold it back in. So I'm unfolding, I'm working this extra pattern in my body with the unfolding and folding as I roll from side to side. Letting the water draw down to the floor. So I'm pouring myself, yielding into the floor, not fighting against it as I roll from side to side. All right, and then let's bring it in, and we're going to change it to a little bit more exercisey and familiar maybe, and that is arms down, knees up, and twisting from side to side. But again, you can take as long as you need in this twist. Like for me right now, I need to kind of massage out my hips, so I'm using the floor to massage it out, right? I'm taking my time, and I'm going to turn my head away from my legs to go for a big spiral. If your back is hurting or if your neck is hurting, you can always turn your head in the same direction as your legs. So feel free to just listen into your own body and go, oh yeah, this version feels better. You can also make this harder and extend your legs out, arms and back, supporting the movement. So I'm also connecting, feeling my hands, little wings of the heart, wings of the lungs, opening out. Good. And then bring it in, and let's roll back and forth. So rolling through your spine forward and backward, using your breath, but trying not to add tension to this, right? Just letting the kinetics of movement, the energy of the movement, take you into where you're going. You can see if this can bring you up onto your feet, making it bigger if that feels good. Like if you feel like you want to make it harder or more, then go for it. But you don't have to. It's really up to you. You can also keep it really small and easy. Good. And then let's do some more mobility stuff. So we'll get a little bit more spiraling. Actually, let's just do this for a second with no weights, just spiraling in and out. So I'm going to move so you can see my hands better. Internal rotation, external rotation. You can even bend your elbows a little bit when you get to that external rotation here. And imagining, so the tissue from your fingers through your forearm, through your radius and ulna, through your humerus, into your collarbones, feeling your collarbones as a huge support for the movement, but also your scapula, so that this is a big connected movement. If you put one hand on your collarbone and you feel the movement of that hand in and out, you'll feel how that moves the muscles underneath there. So actually, let's do it like that, because I feel like probably a lot of people need that. And if you're having that radius and ulna stuff going on, if you're having radial syndrome at all, then working under here, under your clavicle is gonna help. So let's just do it. I'm just gonna sit up. You can do it laying down. Take one hand, kind of dig in. There's so much sunlight coming in here right now. Here we go. Dig in a little bit underneath your collarbone. And then turn in and out with that arm. Breathing into it. If it feels kind of tender, that means the tissue is tight, right? So go easy. You don't have to kill yourself here, but internally, externally rotating the arm as you push in. So I'm actually kind of pushing in and out into my body and then out towards my arm. So I'm digging in and out. So I'm opening up that front. Oh yeah, and I just found a really tight spot right under here. So you can listen into your body, feel what's going on, right? I'm starting to slow down into that, going, what am I feeling here? Good, and do it with the other side. Make sure you've done both sides. So yeah, I'm getting in under my collarbone. You can do this laying down or seated, whatever feels good to you, whatever's working for you. Getting in under there. And I'm trying to keep this hand fairly relaxed, right? So I'm moving my arm in and out. This arm fairly relaxed, but I'm feeling into the tissue underneath there. So what's also happening in this part of our body is that's our subclavian vein, which is where all of the lymphatic fluid is coming back to filter through the blood system, right? So the lymph travels around our body, detoxifying things, and then it comes back in. And this area up here under our clavicle is where the main floodgate of returning back in with whatever needs to be filtered out is. And if that gets blocked, you're going to have problems. So opening that up, right? And we're using that little dig underneath here, under the collarbone, to get into that. Good. So even yourself out and then give it a shake out. Yeah, if you do one like lymphatic release a day, this is the place to do it, right up here in your, where it's coming in. All right, I wanted to do some more radius and ulna stuff. So since we're sort of working with that, and I've done this a bunch lately in classes, I'm just gonna shut the curtain over here so the sunlight is not so blinding. There we go. So it's going to be a little bit more hands-on stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to work with these two bones, your ulna, which is this bone. That's the bone of your ulna. It is coming down this way, other part of your ulna, right? That little knob down there. This is your radius on the other side. Radius crosses over the ulna. You can actually see it. Here's my two bones. When I do this, you can see the radius crossing over. So when your arms are open, it's like this. When you cross over, that's what's happening, those two bones, right? Really important that that tissue between your radius and ulna has a chance to be alive and moving, right? So that we're not, especially when we're here all day long, there's not a lot of movement there. Radius is crossed over the ulna, or if we're here, same thing. So we're just going to wake that up a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with I'm going to grab, let's do it this side. I'm going to grab with my thumb up here by the eye of my elbow, and I'm going to squeeze my arm, just sandwiching it a little. Then I'm going to turn my hand in, and I'm going to work my way down, getting that tissue, that fascia, muscle fiber, fluids, everything to have some movement under my hand. And I'm going to come back up. And I can really, it's like you're wringing yourself out, right? You're getting that tissue to wake up and hydrate. Then the same thing on the other side, starting up at the top, internal rotation. So I'm squeezing in, not so hard that it's like awful, but enough that you're reaching into your body a little bit. And then coming back up, same thing. And then just like let your wings fly for a second. So bring them in and out, letting that integrate for a second. We're going to do one more thing. You can shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And so the other thing we're going to do is we're going to come from this side. Let's do it on this one first. And you're going to take my hand is crossed over. I'm going to take my other hand around here, and I'm just going to pull with my fingers across, pulling, and I'm moving my hand out. So we're affecting the tissue from both directions, right? From the inside and the outside. Oh, my cats are being so naughty. I can see them in the other room. They're just totally doing things they're not supposed to be doing. Well, I'm just gonna let them do it. I'm not in there. And then same thing on the other side. So fingers are around. I'm just letting my fingertips kind of dig in to right here. And then as I open, it's kind of holding that tissue, and I'm moving from the inside to the outside, right? And depending on what kind of sports you do, like what kind of shoveling, and if you're right-handed or left-handed, those two sides could feel really different. All right, so let's come in, do a couple more things on the floor, and then we'll get up. So on the floor, we're just going to open the hands wide and circle chest down to the floor and then push up. Again, we're connecting in through the fingers and hands, even through the skin of our bodies, in towards the center, from the distal towards the center. Core distal relationship, change direction. So the distal edges are the edges that are furthest away, like our fingers and our toes. So letting your head and tail do whatever they want to do as you're making this circle. Waking up the pecs, but not working super hard. And then come in, and let's do this standing thing that I've been talking about this whole time. So, okay. I gotta say, one of the great things about the internet and about Instagram is that you can follow these crazy movement people all over the world. And I gotta say, Germany, France, Spain, they have some really interesting people doing amazing stuff. There's amazing people everywhere. I mean, India has a ton of them too. And then there's a bunch of people that are like in Indonesia. So I follow all these people. I'm looking at movement stuff that they're doing and just comparing it with like what I do and what's important to me. So what we're going to do is we're going to circle, you're going to circle your arm, whole full circle. Let's do 3 circles. 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to connect your elbow at your waist, and you're going to just 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to connect to just feel your arm on your body and that will connect it enough to do the hand 1, 2, 3. So we go full arm 1, 2, 3, elbow 1, 2, 3, hand 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go in the other direction. Is that the, like, it's hard for me to remember if we, oh, we're going to come in. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, hand 1, 2, 3. Other arm 1, 2, 3, elbow 1, 2, 3, hand 1, 2, 3. Good. So we're going to do something similar, but entirely different, of course, with our legs. So we're going to do a circle with our knee forward, knee circle forward. Then our knee is going to stay pretty close, and we're going to circle the foot in the back. Knee circles forward, foot circles back. Knee circles forward, foot circles back. So we're mobilizing that whole hip and these joints. And I'm actually brushing through the floor with my foot. So I've got the here, and then I'm touching down, and here, touching down, knee, touching down, foot. So you're getting that extra little bit of foot action. So like if the if the arms and fingers are the wings of the heart, the feet and legs are the wings of the pelvis, but maybe the roots are better, right? The legs are the legs of the pelvis, the roots of the lower basin of our body. Let's do it on the other side. Circles of the front and the back. So both of these times we're crossing front first, crossing front, circling back. Let your foot wake up. So you're feeling the sole of your foot connecting to the floor, circling and circling, circling and circling. Ball and socket joint, right? Shoulder and hip socket. They love round movement. They were made to do round things, right? That is going to increase the integrity of like your femur head or your humerus head, right? So that we have this extra integrity because of these pulls in all these different directions, right? The more three-dimensional the tissue and the bone and the movement of the blood even can go through, the more three-dimensional patterns we get into, the healthier it is, because the demands have been really three-dimensional as opposed to just a demand that's going one way, right? If the demand's always this, the tissue is going to have less capacity than if the demand moves in different planes, right? So even if we change our relationship to gravity, we're changing the demand on the tissue. Such a weird way of putting it. But okay, so we've done the legs out. Now we're going to come in. So you're going to go out to in, circling out to in, and then you're basically making this weird figure 8 with your leg. Good, and then change it to the other side. So I feel like with these, anywhere, I mean, you're working balance here, right? You're waking up the feet, getting those hip joints, even your knee joint, even the relationship between your knee and your foot. And you want to do like anywhere between 4 and 10 of those. Let's just take it down in a forward fold and shift from side to side. So free up your head tail connection, tail to head, letting it go. And then coming in and rolling it all the way up. Yeah, so I think with also with the somatic work, if you're coming from a fitness perspective into the somatic work, sometimes it's like, well, what's that doing? And it's not like a better question is, what does that feel like? And what does that feel like today? And what will it feel like tomorrow? Like being in the actual moment of what's going on in your body. So, and I don't know, it's a hard sell if you're not into it. But once you become into like sort of awareness and stuff, you're like, oh, this is really fascinating. What is going on? All right, so we're going to take it forward onto your hands and knees, or elbows and knees, and you're going to push into the floor with your arms, and you're just going to rotate open, rotate close, rotate open, rotate close. Feel the connection again from your fingertips through your elbow, through your shoulder, into your collarbones and your scapula as these supports. And then we're going to make this a little different. You're going to come onto your hands and knees. You're going to press up onto your fingers, and then heel of the hand down, elbows to the floor, pushing up and through, lowering down. bearing as much weight in your upper body as feels appropriate for you right now. Like if you've got issues and you need to do this gently, then by all means do it gently. Listen to your own body's intelligence. And then we're going to do these, like the scrabbling that we did like a cat, but you're just going to keep changing the relationship of your hand to, so turning it in, circling it in, like you could do it like a clock, or you can be more free flow than that. So depending on how much specific activity you need, how much you need to know, I went exactly there, or how much you can just be in the free flow, just walking the hands in all these different places, out to in. And then let's bring the fingers so they're facing each other. So fingers are in, elbows are out, and we're going to stick out the butt, open the chest and arch, and then hollow, curl, and round. Let's bend the elbows in the arch. Think of pulling your chest through, tail is reaching back, and then push, hollow, curl, and round. Bend the elbows, chest comes through, push and curl, and one more. And let that go. And we're going to come over the outside of your hands and make little monkey hands. And again, you can do this here, here, just moving them around, because that's going to shift the relationship of the fluid in your body and hydrate all that tissue, right? That's a lot of arm stuff. So let's do, where are we time-wise? Oh yeah, we're getting towards the end. Let's do a couple of leg things, and then we'll do a stretch, and then we'll be done. So let's come, oh, I want to do it here. Come onto your butt. Sorry, just forget what I was saying there, and we're going somewhere totally different. Onto your butt, and you're just going to roll across one butt cheek and then roll across the other. So we could think about this idea of exertion and recuperation, and think that a recuperative movement might still be an exertion in another way. Like if I've done a ton of movement where, like, let's say I'm a bicyclist and I do this all the time. What I need is some spiraling, right? I need the recuperation of the spiral to let the tissue have more diversity. Then we're going to circle the arm up and over, painting the rainbow with the arm, massaging through your butt as you roll across it. And then we're going to take it all the way down to the floor. So it's like you're surrendering down to the ground, push the floor away and come up. Take it down, release, push it up. Good. Then we're going to take this another step, and you're going to take it down to the floor, come up and just arch pelvis up and down. Take it down all the way to the floor, paint the rainbow through center over to the other side. Surrender down to the floor. Come up, press the pelvis up, take the arm up to the ceiling, take it back down all the way to the floor, and spiral up and over to the other side. Surrender into the mat, press up, arch, take it back down into the mat, and paint the rainbow all the way around, down to the floor, press it up, take it down, and let's come into center. So that was kind of our legs thing. Let's just do some hip stretching and we'll finish it off. So crossing ankle over your knee. You can leave the bottom one straight if you want, or you can fold the other one in underneath. Really, whatever feels right to you. So the part of my body that tends to get really tight is my hips. Hips tend to be tight. And my hamstrings are super open. So so I don't really need, like, if you have tight hamstrings, maybe opt for the one leg out. And if your hips are really open, maybe that's a better stretch for you. Breathe into it, let go. Feel your breath rising and falling as if you're breathing into every cell in your body. Deep cellular breathing. Giving yourself permission to really let go on the exhale. So whatever you're holding on to, whatever backpack of responsibility, judgment, or like perfectionism you have, let the backpack go just for a little while. And then unscramble and take both legs out in front of you and give them a little bang. Let the tissue soften up again. Rotate in and out. Easy from your hips, through your knees, through your ankles, and then through the other side, same thing. Taking it down, breathing into it. If you want to add a little undulation in here, go for it, or just hang out. Listen into your own body. Yeah, if I feel like, oh, I'm really tight, nothing's moving, if I add just a little micro movement, a little undulation, a little tiny internal spiral, I tend to find more space in there. And then let that go. Unscramble, bang it out. Again, rotate in and out. And then slide your feet underneath you. Take your tail up to the ceiling, and you're just going to shift from side to side, shifting from one way to the other, letting it go. And then coming in and coming all the way up. And we'll come back to the breath. We're going to do a different breath, but we're coming back to this idea of being in the vertical with the breath. But the breath is going to be a sip. So we're just adding a little bit of pressure, like we're sucking through a straw, and we're going to sip the breath in, and we're also going to sip the breath out. So it'll be like this. And you can imagine that you have like two little strands that you're pulling up from the floor. And then the same thing, oh, you're going to push them down, like you're pushing two big empty jugs underwater. So you're going to pull up and then push down. So exhale everything out, and then sipping in. And when you get to the bottom, really try and blow it all out. Also, when you get to the top, try to get as far as you can. So exhale everything out again, sipping in. Last one. Yeah. Oh, I got someone who just popped into the room. I think she thought there was a ballet class right now and disappeared. Okay, so that is the end of class. If you're in TV land, I'm teaching a space class January 7th. I will put the link in the description. Also, I'm thinking of two more things I'm going to start. I'm going to start teaching a movement for meditators / meditation for movers course, which is going to be a full course. And I'm also going to start a really basic, simple breathwork class, which would just be probably like 30 minutes once a week. And then you would keep working with that and you'd get a recorded thing. So that's probably going to happen within the first 3 months of next year.